Okay, thank you. Good morning, colleagues. First of all, let me say how glad I am to stand in front of you and to speak on this wonderful topic. And actually, it is a great pleasure to be here. And before I start, let me recognize our teachers who are always thoughtful. And actually, I thank you for preparing this topic. Also, before we start, let us salute Africa, because Africa, it is a very great continent, and our topic is, does Africa have a bright future? Of course it has. I strongly agree with this motion. And before I start, let me just comment about what my colleague has said. He said, we don't have a bright future because of our politicians. I can assure you, my brother, when it comes to politics, we can solve it. Of course, we have some politicians who are not honest, but we can solve this problem as soon as possible. And also, you have said about poverty. Now, if you compare Africa, what it was 50 years ago, now it's totally different. Because, you see, in my own country, in 1984, we had a famine in our country. But nowadays, do we still have a famine in Africa? Of course, we don't have. Okay. And the issue of poverty, I think we start fighting poverty. And now we are moving forward in terms of poverty. Because, and actually I really disappointed when my brother has said that Africa has a dark future like our skin. For us, we are proud of our skins, no matter how it is. Okay? But I can assure you, Africa has a bright future for the following things. First of all, I think we always say, before we know where we are going, let us look up where we came from. Now, there is something extraordinary happening in the continent of Africa. You know, the GDP of Africa has multiplied 4.5 times in 10 years. It has never happened in the history of China, Malaysia, and India. Now, by this growth of GDP, I can assure you Africa has a bright future. Now, when it comes to the bright future of Africa, I think the bright future of Africa is certainly based on our youth, our big number of the youth. Because our youth are well educated as well as enthusiastic, our youth in Africa. I think we can invest our youth in order to transform our continent. And also, our bright future of Africa is certainly based on our national resources. You see, the huge national resources that we have, oil, gold, and many others. I think now, if you take a look at Nigeria, it is largest producer, it's largest producer of oil nowadays. And we have a couple of others, like we have Sudan also produce oil. We have also we have Mozambique and Ghana. We have very many countries that produce oil. And gold, we have Congo, Sudan, Ghana, and many others. I think we can export those national resources in order to bring money, to use that money for education sector, and also to use it for technology sector, because technology is very useful today. So Africa has bright future. There is no doubt on that. And I have never doubt on my mind that Africa doesn't have a bright future. It has, of course. Okay, let me mix remarks. And also, it is our bright future is also based on our unity as we're African. Now, as you can see, East Africa Federation. You know, once you are united, like now in East Africa Federation, the currency is stable, the issue of movement has simplified, and also they have very many projects that are still working on in terms of infrastructure and many others. I think once we are united, we can have a bright future of Africa. So, and above all that, we have some countries which are already competing with the world. We have like Seychelles, we have Algeria, Botswana, Gabon. These are countries which are competing with the world in terms of development. In my conclusion, I just wanted to say that don't be disappointed. Africa has a bright future. As long as we are there, we can make Africa to move forward. Thank you so much.
Yes, only one question.
Welcome.
You said that the GDP increased 4 times last 10 years, but it's still we don't have, we are over. You know, when the pandemic happened, or Corona began, that the people that drive, they don't have jobs. They always getting they need all the money. They don't have. Even you said that there's many countries that use oil, and I know that, but few people they eat that money. You know, they tell you that the politicians eat that money.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Corona didn't affect only Africa. Corona, it affected the whole world. There's no doubt on that. And also, as you have said, our GDP is growing, but we're still having a poverty. Now, government cannot give you money for free. Let me tell you this. Government can collect money in order to develop the country, like to use it in different sectors. Government can use the money to build infrastructure and to bring things that are in need for the population. But they cannot give you money for free, but they can help you. At least they can give you some amount to invest, then you can give it back to the government. But it's also, we can move forward. Yeah. Sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
So my name is Jeremiah, and I'm from Republic Democratic of Congo. So our today's motion is foreigners should live in Africa. Actually, I strongly disagree with that motion. Why? I'll tell you why now. You may think that those foreigners come to bring us their aids, they come to bring us peace, but not. What I've learned from foreigners is in whatever they are doing, they have never had good intention in whatever they are doing. So they can pretend themselves providing us their help, but that's not true. They are bringing corruption in our continent. They are bringing dependence. They are bringing limitation. They are bringing war and everything that you can think at this moment. So actually, one of the colleagues said that talked about the English, the language of English. Do you think that we need English to live? No, I don't think so. Because I lived and I will remain living even without English. If I'm learning English, is so that one day when I'll have my own enterprise, I will engage those foreigners in my enterprise.
Yeah, you can. Just you say, okay. Just you say this English is not working. Why do you learn English now?
I told you why. The reason why I'm learning English is to facilitate communication with those foreigners. So one day I will engage them in my enterprise. So that is, and I talked about corruption. You see, those foreigners encourage what we call rent seeking. When they bring us their aids, our official, our government leaders, they tend to enrich themselves instead of doing what they had to do with that amount of money they have received. So we really don't need those foreigners because they are not good at all. And secondly, whenever and wherever they come, we remark what we call the death of our local industry. And so when they come, our local farmers tend to go out of the business because they cannot compete with the abundance of the cheap aid food. I mean, they bring in response of humanitarians. So those are the points. You may think that they bring us their help, but really they don't have good intention in what they are doing. So I say and I thank you, and in conclusion, what I can tell you is that you have to think a lot about what you are supporting. Thank you.